Hi there, welcome again to Classic Motors Workshop, our little workshop in Africa. Today we have got this beautiful 1622 MGA and we are going to be doing timing and we are going to be setting the carbs. So if we come around here, the very first thing that we're going to do is loosen up the distributor so that we can set it all. And this has got to be done in a particular order. Young Ethan here is going to be doing this for us. The very first thing is dipstick out the way. And then, once that's out the way, he can get to the clamp. He's going to undo the clamp. And then he is going to undo the two nuts, or the two bolts, sorry, that are against the block. And the reason for doing that is if we just undo the clamp, when we put it back on, it puts uneven pressure on the distributor and tends to break the collar. So all three have got to be loosened, and then the clamp has got to be tightened first, and then the two bolts on the block then slide into place and are then tightened. Right, so now that we got it set at 15 degrees, we are going to tighten up the distributor. And again, as I said, we're going to start with the clamp first, then we are going to do the two bolts on the block. And young Ethan is going to do that again for us, and he is going to reattach the vacuum. Okay, so while we were setting the timing, we reviewed the clip and noticed that unfortunately the light off the timing light was reflecting off the fan and everything else. So let me just take it up. There we can see where we're at TDC. You can see the 5 lines and the white line on the crank, and then each of those is 5 degrees. So we go 5, 10, 15. And now that we're at 15, we're at 0 on our machine. So now we're going to set the carbs on this 1622, which has H4s on it, which have to be set in a very particular order. There's a few things we need to do. The first thing is we need a quarter inch socket, preferably on a screwdriver, and it's not fitting. So what's one size, young Ethan, what's one size up from quarter inch? 1132s, that's correct. And that's too big. So hang on. Oh, that would make sense because I've got a 3/16 on there. So may I please have a quarter inch? Doesn't help when you're half blind. And so yes, so quarter inch will be the right size, yes. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to undo the shaft connectors, one on each side, so that each carb is running individually. And then once that's done, the the H4s with our vacuum gauge are a bit tricky to read inside here. So we turn them over and we use a mirror. Okay, so I'm going to need a mirror. Thank you. And we have little Liam here who's going to start the car for us, and he's not going to use any choke. And because the timing is absolutely correct, he starts on the button. So now we're going to balance the carburetors. It's running just over 3. This one's running at 3.5. So let's double check. Yeah. So we can lower the idle. Maybe pass me a flat screwdriver, please. Thank you. So we're going to lower the idle fractionally. On the back carburetor, and we're going to recheck. Okay, so this is now lifted to 3.5. And this is sitting just under. So we're just gonna give it a little bit more. Gonna raise it just a fraction. There we go. And just under 3. That's back on 3. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so they are now set in terms of vacuum. So they are now balanced. So now we're going to do the mixtures. There's a lift pin down the back and right hand side of each carburetor. And when we lift it, the engine picks up revs and then wants to die. So this carburetor is actually perfect. Then we go to the back carburetor, and unfortunately the lift pin is right between the float bulbs, so it's a little bit tricky to get to. And she lifts and wants to die. She sounds like she's about a flat out. So what we're going to do, pass me the little spanner, is I'm going to adjust her by 1 flat and just see if we can just get her a little bit better. There we go. come back. Making a little bit leaner. There you can hear the pickup and the dial. So we need to go just a little fraction leaner. And I need to make sure I didn't pop the spring off, which I have. So now I need to reattach the spring, which is going to be lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of fun. Okay, there we go. The spring's back on. Get in there. And we're not getting the pickup. So we've gone a little bit too far. Okay, we're getting the drop off. Let me just get it to reset. Sometimes flipping the throttle just gets it to reset. A little bit rich. We still need to lean off a little bit more. There we go, we started to get some pickup. There we go. There we had a nice pickup and a nice drop off. Okay, so now I'm going to reattach the spring that popped off again. And then we're going to check the balance again. Okay. Because if the balance is out, then this carb isn't going to be working as well as the other one. So we might not be getting an accurate... Oh, that's up to 6. Yeah, so we need to drop the idle on this one. and lift the idle on this one. Around 3.5. Way too high now on this one. We can come back down on this one a little bit. There we go, so they are now in balance. And let's check the little lift, and boom, she wants to die. Lovely. Little lift, and she wants to die. Absolutely lovely. So now our mixtures are set, as well as our balance. So now, one very last thing that we set before we retighten the shaft is we set the choke. Okay, so little Liam there is going to pull the choke for us. Is it all the way out? Okay, so now let it go. Okay, so one of the problems is that the choke needs air as well as fuel. So let's just adjust the choke. Till it touches, and then it'll turn back. As you can see, there's a cam here. Pull the choke. There we go. So it runs onto the cam and it gives it some air. So let it go. Okay, so now we're going to and we should be idling at about 500 to 600 RPM, which on an engine like this is absolutely perfect. Finally, we now reconnect the two shafts so that the butterflies work together, and put the air filters on, and the car's ready to go.